Hello? Oh, hi, Dave. What's going on? Yeah. Well, I'm in the Earth Lodge here. Yeah. I'm really busy. Yeah. I got a lot on my plate right now. You want me to do what? A video 20 to 30 minutes long. Oh, I don't have that kind of attention span. What am I going to talk about? Oh, okay. Yep. Alright, that's perfect. I'm about to do a winter shelter class. I can film that and show everybody how to do it. Yeah. Well, things are good here. Yeah. I'm living the dream. Yeah. Alright. You know it's winter time now. It's cold out there. Alright, yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, Brian's a big baby. He doesn't like the cold. You know, he's getting old, getting up there in years. Yeah. Alright. Well, I'll get to it. Alright. Bye. Oh, yeah.
They cut off your welfare check. Try to lead up, hold you tighter. Think I'm sinking down, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town.
It's about -4 degrees out there. Today, we're doing a class on winter trappers style shelter. Back in the days, all the old time Maine trappers, they would in the fall they would prepare for winter trapping season. In the fall, they would walk out on their trap lines, and every 7 miles or so, 7 or 8 miles, they would build a temporary shelter, so that come trapping season, to maintain, check their traps, set the traps, they would walk this line, and then every 7-9 miles, they would have a temporary shelter in the case of emergency, bad weather, whatnot. So today we're gonna build one. It's gonna take all day. We have a lot of helpers here, a lot of students, and I think you guys will enjoy this video. Stay tuned. Ooh, it's cold out there. Whew. Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to make a winter shelter. Again, this is the type of shelter, non-semi-permanent shelter, that the trappers up here used during the trapping season along their trapping lines. Every 7-9 miles or so they would make these. They would make these during the fall time in preparation for the trapping season. So this is the framework here. You have 2 tripods here, and in between you have a ridge pole. Now the ridge pole has to be 108 degrees from outside the lashings to outside the lashings. In between the lashings, say for inside to the inside length, will be 96 inches. Now all these measurements are key. That way, when you build your first one, take a tape measure with you. That way you can be accurate, and then that will give you your baseline, where the next shelter that you build, you can tweak it a little bit more for your body type, your height, your width, whatever you need to do. Then the front, you'll have another ridge pole going across, and then you will add finger poles to the front and that will trap in the heat from your long fire out front. Up here we have the image of the completed one, and I'll zoom in a minute, with the reflective fire, all the debris out covering the shelter. So this is step one, is the frame. We'll do that this morning, then we'll break for lunch, and then after lunch we'll start adding in all the finger poles and build the reflector and all the long poles for the side, and then we'll start adding the debris on the outside. Okay. Now for this, we might use a tarp for the outside covering and then add debris on top of that. That is a good 21st century option. Back then, they would use tree bark. The best time to harvest tree bark for this purpose is up here in Maine. It's August, when the sap is still flowing. The bark will peel off easy, and then you'll be able to use it. But for our day and age, you can use recycled rubber roofing material, or a tarp, a heavy duty tarp, and that'll last you a very long time. And then you can add debris on top of that. Now if you want to build a long-term shelter that will last your lifespan, you want to strip all these poles from the bark. Stripping all the bark will add to the life of that structure and all the life of the wood. Okay, so this is a shelter that sleeps two. I'll zoom in again. We have a cross section here of two people sleeping, and then the bird's eye view of two guys sleeping in the middle. And again, on the sides is where you're going to have your storage, your packs, your traps, whatnot. Alright, so we'll go out there this morning and we'll get started. We'll cut down some saplings. You guys will cut down the saplings, and we'll help you through it, and we'll get this thing started. And like I said, we'll just focus on getting all the poles that we need, strip them down from all the strip down all the bows off them, and we'll build the frame. Then we'll break for lunch, and then we'll continue on to that. All right, guys. All right. And so here's the miniature mock-up here. We have two tripods here, and this is actually the front. And we're going to build this out in the woods, and then we're going to stack material out in the front all the way across, and on the back we're going to have like a lean-to wall that's going to build all the way around and all the way on the sides, just like in the picture. Alright, so we're harvesting tall balsam firs here. Balsam firs here. Now I'm in a patch. It's a real thick patch of balsam fir. So I can harvest this with a thankful heart and a caretaker attitude towards the rest of them. They'll be able to grow bigger and stronger with this guy out of the picture. They'll get more sunlight. This direction is south, so all this area right here is where all the energy from the sun is going to come. So all these plants will get more sunlight behind this guy right here. So I got my axe right here. So to do this safely, because you're working with a sharp object, you want to clear the area of where you're working. Get all this stuff out of your way. Okay. That's it. So that's it. You go down the line, the patch. You pick out trees that will you can harvest that will benefit the rest of the trees here. You cut them down, lay them, keep cutting them down, take a break. In wintertime, it's all about calories, conserving calories. Don't sweat, don't work too much. A project like this is going to take all day. It'll take a couple days if you're by yourself. But if you have friends and family, it'll take a day. So I'm going to cut a whole bunch of more. I'll grab the other guys here, we'll come and bring them back to the shelter site.
Good for boughs, you know? Yeah, Mom. I got this big heavy one. Whew! Oh, I gotta take a break. Okay, I'm ready.
And what I'm doing here is I'm saving the edge on my axe. Why use your axe when you can use a baton? It's a lot safer. If the baton glances off the tree and hits your leg, you get a bruise and that'll cut.
I know where to find some of the other way.
Yep. Yeah, there'll be another one. Okay. That way from here. Alright guys, so we're on lunch break. This is how far we've gotten today. Now the measurements are key. The measurements come from all the elders, the main guide elders in the community. These measurements are key. So the ridgepole from inside center to inside center needs to be 96 inches. So I know we don't carry a tape measure, but when you're building semi-permanent structures, it's good to have a tape measure. That way you can be accurate with your shelters. So from here to here, it's going to be 96 inches. From the vertical ridgepole here, it's going to be 65 inches from the bottom of the ridgepole down to the ground. So you got 65. Okay. From the vertical back to the back diagonal is, so from here to here will be 57 inches. And then from the center vertical to the front pole here, it's got to be 54 inches. So this is going to be the front. After lunch, after a short break, it's winter time, you can't sweat, you got to take breaks and hydrate and keep your caloric intake up high. After lunch, we're going to have another ridgepole coming from the front here, all the way front to here. It's going to be 18 inches from the bottom of the ridgepole down here. Then we'll lash it, and then we'll have vertical material or vertical logs going down here. Okay. So that's the update. Now this will sleep a couple people. We'll have a long fire in the front. On the sides will be your storage, and then in the middle is your sleeping area. We'll show that later today. So I'm gonna have some tea and some probably roast beef, maybe some possum, I don't know, whatever's in the kitchen. So I'll see you after lunch. Okay, so what we're doing is we just added these front pieces here, okay, and this is gonna shorten up the front door, and then we're gonna add all these back pieces, back poles, and we'll fill in all the gaps. Then we'll add the front door ridge pole, and then those finger lengths, and that'll trap in all the hot air inside and create that circle of heat. Alright. So I'm about 6 feet long, so that's perfect size for me. Still having fun?
Yes. Of course.
That's what it's all about.
Yep. It's gonna be cool to see what it's done too.
Yeah.
I think.
So once we get all these poles intact, we're gonna put like maybe an inch layer of pine boughs over that, and then we'll put on the tarp so that any branches that are still left on the poles won't poke through the tarp. So that's like a buffer for the tarp and any pokies that we might have. And then on top of the tarp, we'll add the remaining boughs and debris and anything that we can get our hands on. So, it's coming together. It's a lot of work, but it'll pay off in the end.
Yeah. Control. Yeah. They're like my dad. Well, no, he really, like my Scott Matthew never liked my dad. This huge thing. So like right after I got it, my dad told me to let it on
We're making sticks here. winter shelters are a lot of work, but
Yeah.
they're high payoff.
I'll throw him a Taylor.
Yeah, I want to be warm tonight. I want you to be warm tonight, you know?
Oh yeah, I want to be warm too.
Tight, that's gonna get.
So for the overhang, you don't have to thread the bottom here. You don't have to do the top.
Oh, well, we don't have to, right?
Yeah, we don't have to.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, because the
That's
top
fine.
is going to rest on that ridge pole.
Yeah, that's not going
So that's less resources, less cordage. Yeah, less time. You don't have to use as much cordage. It's all coming together. Right now it's about
Hey, this is some art. You gotta find it. You got a little car, right?
almost 2:30.
Put the bow saw down there.
The sun's gonna come down. We got about 2 hours left of daylight, and still a lot more work to do.
Get that right.
Because me and this guy right here are gonna be sleeping in here.
Damn right. Alright, so
This is the back side of the shelter, filling all the gaps here.
How's it going?
going. You guys want to take over? Nah.
Okay, so it's almost 3 o'clock. We've been working steadily since this morning, about 8 o'clock this morning. Like I said, shelters like this, it's a lot of work, a lot of calories, but it's a high payoff for a shelter like this. A shelter like this is going to keep you plenty of warm in the winter time, so it's well worth it. But yet, then again, it's a lot of work. So they're filling in the gaps on the back side and on the front. We're working together as a team, and we're trying to race right now. We got a lot more work to do. We still have to build the reflector wall. We still have to build the bed. Still got to fill in the spaces on the sides. So we still got a lot of work. Again, this is the skills that we need for winter time. And as you are out here practicing your skills, and you learn more, and you practice and you learn, you fail, you learn from the failures. It gets better. You have more fun. You have more confidence in yourself and your outdoor skills. Yeah, having fun today. Now it's time to start making bows for the bed. With your knife, your paperweight here. So the reason I'm using my knife here is so that I get a steep angle on the bows. That way I can stick it into the ground. That way, when they're in the ground and your body weight is on, it creates like a spring mattress. And I'll show that in a couple minutes. Alright, so we're starting to put the bowels on the back side. You want a wood layer. And then as soon as we're done on that, we'll put the tarp over the bows. So it's coming together. 3 o'clock. So we put this secondary ridge pole up. And the purpose of this is for the bows. Stick them in there. That. Do that all the way around. Okay, with the handsaw, we'll cut these to length. That's just for safety. If they have one too low like this, everybody's gonna hit their head on that one. So we're gonna cut these flush. We'll cut this flush, and then the other guys will finish putting on the bows on the outside. After that, we'll put the tarp on. I'm going to grab all the bedding and bring it over here and start building up the bedding. And it is 3:12.
You want 523? I think Kane did that.
So you stick them in like this, and you keep layering them all the way down this way. And as you stick them in, you start building that springiness in the bows. And so it'll be better than your mattress at home. That $1,700 mattress that you bought when you first moved into your house, this will be better than that. And it'll smell like evergreen. Very aromathermic. Is that the word?
Aromatherapy.
Aromatherapy. Bushcraft style.
Are you still patching or?
Yeah, feel free to help me out.
Oh, these two. These are lined up nice.
Oh yeah. You can see it's starting to come together.
Oh, not the top. That was the seat. More bows going.
We're on the next phase. We just built the bed out of the boughs. Now we're gonna fill this with hay because there's some balsam fir sprinkled in. And you don't really want to use balsam fir because they act more like pokers. So we're gonna put hay on top of this to cancel out any balsam firs. They'll make it more springy. Priority would be, in my opinion, the reflector wall because that's gonna take longer than putting on the tarp.
Right. And then firewood.
And that was what, 20:04 now.
Do we have an hour? Maybe less?
That looks comfortable, man.
Yeah, it's comfy.
You know, hey,
Yeah, I'm gonna put down the space blanket,
nice.
and I'll put it reflective side up, so that'll reflect our body heat back towards us, and it'll act like a vapor barrier against all this moisture in the hay.
Jim, the one step away was for where the reflector wall starts or where the fire is?
To the fires.
Where the fire is.
30 inches. So you got one guy here, enough for his pack, and then you got another guy right here, and his pack will go on the other end. Home sweet home. So we got the reflector wall built in front of the entrance here, and now we're gathering firewood for the night. Me and Bob are going to be sleeping in here for the night. And as you can see, it's getting dark.
So the story goes that long ago, people lived close to the earth. And there was a tribe that had been around for many, many generations. And in the tribe were two old blind men. And this tribe was at war with the neighboring tribe. And so the people of the village got together and they worried about these two blind men. Because if their village was ever attacked, especially while their younger warriors were away, that these two old blind men would not be able to defend themselves. So they got together and they talked about it, and they decided that they'll move the two blind men to a remote location in the middle of a very big lake on an island where they'd be safe. So the two blind men agreed to this, and people in the tribe, the younger people, they brought the blind men out there, and every 2 weeks they'd bring them lots of venison, acorn flour to make pancakes and bread, maple syrup, you know, things like that. Things keep them going. And so, for a few years, these two old blind men, they lived together in this little cabin on this island in the middle of this large lake. And they had their routines kind of mapped out. They did the same thing pretty much every day. Every day they'd go and get their water from the lake. And since they were blind, what they had to do was they tied a string from their hut to the lake. And they'd take turns. One would do it one morning, the next one would do it the next morning. And that's how they went for years. They'd follow the string with the kettle, they'd go down to the lake, they'd get their water, they'd follow this string back, and they'd put it over the fire. And even though they were blind, they were very capable on their own. But it was journeys outside of the hut that they had trouble with. So this string was very important for them getting water. So one morning, Raccoon, who just like Crow and Coyote are known for their trickster ways, Raccoon was searching for food, crayfish, fish, scavenging along the lake shore, and they saw this blind man walking along the string to get his water. And Raccoon, being the trickster that he is, had a thought. And this thought was, well, what if I move the string? So that's what he did. In the night, Raccoon moved the string away from the lake and into a big patch of brambles. So the blind man wakes up, goes out with his kettle along the string, and finds himself, instead of along the lake shore, which he's done every day, almost every other day for the last 2 years, he finds himself in a bramble patch, and he gets frustrated. And he follows the string back to the hut, and the two old blind men would refer to each other as brother. And so this one, coming back from the bramble patch, walks in the hut and says, "Brother, we are surely going to die." And so the other old blind man, his brother, says, "What do you mean, brother? Why are we going to die?" And the first one goes on to explain how the lake has dried up, and in its place a bramble patch has grown. And the other brother says, "Well, that's preposterous. That could not happen overnight. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get water. I don't know what's going on with you." So the second blind man walks along the string to the lake. And he makes it to the lake because Raccoon is crafty. And while the first blind man came back and told his brother about the drying up of the lake, Raccoon had gone and moved the string back to its original location. So the second blind man goes down, gets the water, comes back, and he thinks his brother might be sick because he's acting a little funny. So it's time for breakfast, and they do the same thing that they do every day. Once they get the water going, over the fire. They take their venison pieces and they put them in the pan and they start cooking them over the fire. And now the same thing every day. 8 pieces of venison. 4 for one brother, 4 for the other. So Raccoon smells the meat cooking and gets another clever idea. He walks in to their hut, and as the blind men are just about ready to eat, Raccoon starts to steal pieces of venison from the pan. So at first he takes one and eats it as the other blind men eat their first piece. And then Raccoon takes 2 and 3 and 4 pieces. So now each blind man is only at 2 pieces at this point. Reaches down and finds that there's no more. So the first blind man says to the second one, "Brother, you must be hungry this morning. For there are no more pieces left, and I've only had 2. And the other brother says, "Well, I was thinking that you must be hungry this morning, because I've only had 2 pieces, and there's none left." So they get arguing with each other, based on this morning where their one brother wasn't able to find the water, and now there's venison missing, and they start arguing and blaming each other for eating more than their share of venison. And they start getting close to each other, and their voices start to get louder, and they start yelling at each other. And at this point, Raccoon sees this perfect opportunity that he has set up, and with his raccoon paw, he comes up and slaps one of the blind men. And so the blind man who was slapped thinks that his brother had just slapped him, and he lunges for his brother, and they start wrestling around this hut. These 85-year-old men are now wrestling blindly around their hut, and the fire gets smothered and the coals go everywhere, and the water spills over, and all their stuff and firewood start to fall over because they are wrestling back and forth. And in the midst of all this, Raccoon speaks up for the first time. He says, "You silly old fools." And at this, both blind men realize that they have been tricked by a trickster. And Raccoon says, "Thank you for your venison. And don't be so quick to cast blame on another." And he leaves him with that. And that's the story of Raccoon and the 2 blind men.
Doesn't take much, does it? You know?
I gotta pee like a racehorse.
You and your bivvy too?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was on the edge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was running all night. I was sleeping this in the tent, that's for sure.
So how'd you sleep, Bob?
I slept fantastic.
Yeah?
Best shelter I ever slept in.
How was the bed?
Good.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah,
Your eye being out near the door was no big deal.
no, not at all.
No chill. I mean, I slept well.
I laid down and closed my eyes and woke up this morning.
You farted a couple of times too in between.
I've been known to do that.
Yeah. Slept as well as I would have anywhere else, you know.
So me and Bob, we started the long fire. Heated up the shelter. That way he could get an idea of how effective the long fire is and the heat retaining qualities of the shelter. And then we stayed up and chit-chatted for a couple hours. And then we just climbed into our fart sacks and went to bed. We didn't take shifts feeding the fire because that wasn't the purpose of the exercise. The purpose of the exercise was to get a good night's sleep and not take rotations feeding the fire. So a shelter like this is a fire dependent shelter somewhat, especially in the middle of the winter. You need to feed this fire, maintain it constantly to heat the shelter. But right now it's a heat wave. It's like 26 degrees or so, so it's kind of warm. But the rest of the time of in the year, you can get away with just wool blankets and stuff inside the shelter here. The bedding is about a foot. The bedding is about a good foot of bedding, and so it's real cushiony, real soft. No heat stealing qualities. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still waking up. The mattress is thick enough so the earth won't steal your body heat. I forget the scientific term. It's not convection. I don't know. I need some coffee, and I'll get back with you guys. Alright.
The day's over. Time to get some firewood. Pack it in for the night. See you next time. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's just one example of many shelters that were built up here in northern New England back in before the Industrial Revolution, before humans as a society kind of cut the cord with their connection with nature and outdoor living. So that's my first video. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I had lots of fun doing it, sharing skills and learning and everything. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too disappointing. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care.